What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about Bluezelle today, BLZ USDT. On the Binance chart here, Binance is the biggest exchange for crypto in all the world, which makes sense that we'd be using their chart, on the USDT pairing, which is the highest traded volume pair in all of crypto for this specific crypto. Without any further of that, though, looking at this thing from a low to a high point, I do very much think Bluezelle is on its way down. I don't think it's done going down. And there's one simple thing that makes me believe that, and that is we are nowhere near the 382 yet. I mean, granted, we're a lot closer than we were when we were at 22 cents up there, but from the current price, let's see, I would say that we still have at least a 13% drop or more coming, and I very much do expect more. I know, if you saw my video from last time about Bluezelle or any of the videos recently I've talked about, I've been talking about this area in particular, below 10 cents, but around 8 cents, even down potentially to 7 cents, being a potential area that we could find support on. You might be wondering, well, why are you saying this? The 382 is at 11.6 cents. Why are you mentioning that? Well, it's just because, you guys, we very well could find a low there and bounce off. We might not go all the way down. Historically speaking, in my personal experience, when you see this kind of movement where you have a nice breakout upwards, and then you just bleed upwards like this while volume declines, generally you break out to the downside and you go back to where you last had like major volume, which is down in this area here, okay? Generally. It's not a guarantee. You never know. But what I would say is the most statistical likely thing that we're going to do from here that needs to happen before we have any hope of going up would be having some kind of interaction with this level. Maybe we go through it, maybe we bounce off of it, some kind of something before we determine anything if we're going to bounce from here or not. I do think we're going below the 382. I don't want to be confusing, I know I can be confusing at times, but we can bounce off of this and still go lower. We can, right? If we bounce off, have another lower high, in this kind of range of lower highs. If we bounce off of it, and I know it's scary because this is all the way at 11.6 cents, where here this is at 14.86 cents, but if we bounce off the 382, find resistance at the 236, that would actually be a very classic setup on the fib scale, and then that would probably send us all the way down to the 618. Something like that could happen. It makes sense, right? Kind of a previous area of support here, a little bit of resistance kind of in the middle of this range. Go back and test previous areas of resistance and then come down. It would make sense. It would also make sense, you guys, if we just went straight down and just shit the bed. You know what I mean? Straight down, more or less, right? We're essentially moving straight down now, but it's not, day to day, if you're watching this thing like a hawk, it's not necessarily moving in a straight line, though if you zoom out, it definitely does appear to be that way. It's definitely moving down pretty fast. But all in all, I do think that we're going to go lower. I do think that Bluezelle is going to find its low. Probably, if I had to give it a decent guess, I would say below 10 cents, above 7 cents, probably somewhere in the middle of that, right? So close to the 618 would make sense to me. It would also make sense if we went even below it. There's a whole lot of support in this area. With that being said, Bluezelle has experienced the most volume that it's ever had in its entire history. If we go, BLZ USD on the Binance chart, this has all the historical data here. On a monthly basis, it doesn't look like we have the most volume, but that's because this is the all-time historical data chart. And I talk about this every single time. It looks like all the volume was back here, and on this chart it was. On the USD pair, it was. Most volume was here. That came in at a reading of 1.34 billion Bluezelle that was traded that month. That was the biggest month, 1.34. Now if we go to BLZ USDT, Tether on Binance, the same exchange, just a different chart technically, you can see that it's a lot shorter. There's not as much historical data. And if we look at, that's why I pulled up the other one to kind of show you the all-time history. If we look at this one, the clear one that has the most volume here was 7.98 billion, almost 8 billion tokens, where the last one was 1.34. Okay, so we had dramatically more volume on this month, breaking out of this kind of area of accumulation. We just broke straight out to high heavens, man, and we kept going. Literally found resistance at a previous area of resistance that we haven't seen in over a year, well over a year. And the whole reason I'm saying that is to keep in mind that we have a lot of buying volume. There is a lot of attention on this thing, apparently more attention than there's ever been, and that could imply that the lower end of the targets that I'm expecting might not happen. Maybe the higher end of the targets does happen. Just so you know, I want to put this on your map because I know the last couple times I've really been focusing on this area, and this is the area that I am focused on personally. I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice, but I do believe it's going to go down there. But be prepared to find support in this area. It wouldn't be too out of the norm, especially if we start making higher strides. If we get above this 236 and we get more volume than like something like up here, right? If we get more volume reads as we're going higher, it doesn't have to be this magnificent, but just bigger than this stuff as we're going higher than these highs over here. That would be significant enough to me, and I wouldn't catch the absolute low on that, but I wouldn't be buying the absolute top either. I'd be buying, between 22 and 11.6 cents. I'd probably be buying around 15 cents. So I don't know. I guess it's not the best, but at least you won't miss the train entirely. I don't plan on that kind of thing to happen. That's like a contingency, right? That's just something to be aware of. Don't full-heartedly expect that it's going to go down here, because it might not. Again, there's a lot of bullish things going on for Bluezelle. And ultimately, wherever you get in, let's say you bought the top. Let's actually say you bought the top, all right? So whoever you are, somebody bought the top, right? Somebody sold the top, good job. Somebody bought the top, boo-hoo, it happens. We've all been there. It's okay. You can hang your head in shame if you want to, but I think everybody, if you're a trader and you haven't sold the top yet, you just started trading, man. Or bought the top, I'm sorry, not sold the top. You'll sell the top at times, you'll buy the top at times, so that's not what I'm trying to talk about. What I'm trying to say is, let's say you bought the top, okay? Here you are down here, that the top is at 22 cents, all the way down at 13.4 cents is what the price is now. So obviously, from this point of gain, it would be tremendously larger, 140% versus just 48%. But I have a purpose to this, I promise you. Maybe we will need the all-time history chart, actually. Let's see. Yeah, that'll do. We're going to take this, and we're going to go here, and we're going to act like we bought the top. Okay, here it is, buying the top. If you bought the absolute top, and we are to go to new all-time highs this cycle, which I do think Bluezelle is going to do, because, again, the most volume in this chart happened off of this low. The most volume in all of Bluezelle's history across the board happened over here off of this low. It doesn't look like it on this chart, but on the USDT pairing it is. I just feel like I have to clarify that for whatever reason. I would expect that we are going to go to new all-time highs. The minimum extended price target would be all the way up here at the 1272 at $3.84. Here we are, buying the top at relatively around like 22 cents. That still gives you a 17.5x. If you stayed with me, if you followed through with all that, it still gives you a 17.5x. The 1618 all the way up here would give you a 100x, okay, the 1618 all the way up at $22. And guys, if you've been following the channel, you know that I think that it doesn't stop there. I do think that Bluezelle has a very decent potential to go all the way up to $100 in this cycle. And you're looking at that number and you're like, what the hell is that? How much is that? That's crazy. That is 474.5x, almost 475x right there. That's what that would be. And I say 74 because 300%, if you gain 300%, it's a 4x because you already have 100%. If you gain 100%, it's a 2x. So I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, that should make sense. That's how the math works. But in case anyone's like, that says 473. He said 474. No, it's 474x, I promise you. So you could stand to gain if we hit a very normal extension at the 1618. You could stand to gain 100x even if you bought the top. Let alone if we do the insane price targets up at $100, which I do think that it has a decent chance to achieve that price target. We could see those levels by the end of this cycle. And here we are all the way at 13 cents right now. Is it a good time to buy? Tomato, tomato, potato, potato, maybe it is. I do think it's going down. I do think it's going lower personally from here. But then inevitably it'll be a higher low, and just all in all, we're on our track up to these levels somewhere in these extended zones between about $3.84 and $22, somewhere in there. That's the expected range, let alone what's beyond that, which is also possible. So I don't know. You know, I just kind of got lost on the bullish stuff there. I was actually trying to keep this video more relevant to today, but I don't know. I just got on a tangent as I do. But take that for what you will. Again, this isn't financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. But all in all, you know, your daily RSI here is looking weak. You are in the bearish area of control. You tried to get out of it, but you couldn't. You found resistance on it. You're back in it. This is the look, especially just like this whole thing. It goes very well with the idea that we probably will go into the oversold zone. If not bounce off of it, go into it and then bounce from there. I do think that we have lower to go. And generally, how you look at this kind of stuff is once you get into the oversold zone, that's where you see some of your bigger moves to the downside, right? It's the relative strength index. So you get your strongest readings when you are making your strongest moves, right, to the upside. You get your weakest readings whenever you're making your weakest moves or strong moves to the downside. Generally, not always, but let's go back in time and just see how that works out. You know, here you're in the oversold zone, and you can see this actually proves what I'm saying wrong. You're in the oversold zone, and you got some of your smallest moves. Okay, here you got into the oversold zone, and that proved me right. This was absolutely your biggest candle in a while. You know, and you got in your oversold zone. Here was a big candle as well, and this is what brought you into your oversold zone there. You know, very big candle here, and you weren't anywhere near the oversold zone. It's not a guarantee, but it's just kind of like an idea, right? You didn't get huge candles while you were in your oversold zone, but let's see, from here, because this was the day that you got in it technically right here on this candle here. So you did have a pretty big move all in all. You know, this was from high to low. That was a 24.5% move in a very short amount of time to the downside. So, I mean, you just get bigger moves as you get to that oversold area. So, you know, generally, it doesn't have to happen. Again, it doesn't have to happen, but more often than not, it does. So I would be prepared for something. I mean, we saw the last time, once it got into the oversold zone, a 24% drop, you know, just to put it in perspective. And it wasn't the last time, it was just the last one that I measured, but whatever. You know, this one was bigger. This was a, let's see. I mean, that was 26% drop. This one here, you were in the oversold zone on this day. Let's just see from top to bottom, 16% drop. So if you dropped, I don't know, let's say 16% from here, but you're not in the oversold zone yet, are you? If you dropped 16% from here, you might be. 16% from here would take you to 11.2 cents. Again, that's that 382 area from low to high, literally right, well, it's kind of just below that actually. And then 24% would take you down to around your 0.5. And I don't generally look for people or for the price to find significance on the 0.5. It's there. It does happen. It's not completely rare and insane if it happens, but I don't generally expect that. So a move like this, regardless if you're to get into the oversold zone, I think gives room to the idea that we will inevitably come down to this sweet spot, the white zone, which is for loading and unloading only. And I'm planning on loading up on some Bluezelle once it gets down here. If things look bullish before, I will keep you guys posted. You know, I'll let you know what my thoughts are. I am more than prepared to buy this thing at a higher price from here. Circling back to the whole thing, I think this is where I got on that tangent. I am more than prepared to buy at a higher price from here, because even if you bought the top from here, you're still in the realm of expectations for 100x, let alone more than that if it was to go to the crazy number of $100, which is totally possible for this thing to do. If we look at it on the market cap, just to kind of close this video off so people don't think I'm absolutely insane. You can think I'm insane, but just so you can hear where I'm coming from. $57 million, okay? Let's call it 58 even. Let's round it up, even though it's not even halfway there. Let's round it up. 58 million. A 10x would be 580 million. A 100x would be 5.8 billion. And then a 1000x would be 58 billion. Well, 1000x from 13 cents would be $135. Okay, so is that possible? Is a $58 billion market cap possible? Absolutely, absolutely. For something that's been around since 2018, it's had multiple bear markets and it has higher lows coming out of it. You know, yes, it doesn't have higher highs, but we have the most volume we've ever seen in this thing coming off of this breakout here. Pair that with the last time we had really high amounts of volume was during the all-time low. So I think everything is set up right for this thing to set new all-time highs. Again, where would the minimum expectation be for that? You know, we're looking at a price somewhere between about, is that right? Is that right? Oh no, I had it on this high over here. I wonder. I want to look. I want to actually be completely positive here. Yeah, we can use that high. Okay, cool. Good. Would have changed some numbers a little bit, but that's okay. Let's see. So yeah, a minimum expectation at $3.84 and a maximum kind of expectation around 22, with the potential again to go to $86 or higher, because we just did the math that $135 is completely possible. A $58 billion market cap for something that's been around like this, that hasn't had any problems. They've just continued to grow, and they're having the most volume they've ever experienced in their life after being through 2 significant bear markets. And you know, crypto is just on the rise. I do think that something like this could see a 1000x literally from its current price. It could literally see a 1000x from its current price, so let alone 100x or multi 100x. So am I going to be sad if I miss the boat on buying here? Things start to turn around and look bullish, and then I have to buy at a higher price. No, I'm not going to be, but I am going to be sad if I buy here and it drops. You know, it's much more fun to make money than it is to lose money. So I don't want to buy here. I do think that it's going to go lower, at least to that like 11.6 cent area. And then if not there, likely in my opinion, somewhere around this 8 cent to 7 cent area, something below 10 cents for sure. But I guess, I don't know, if we were to take anywhere from this like high point here to this low point here on a closing basis, 8 to 10 cents, yeah, something like that would make sense. Potentially lower, but at that point, you guys, I think I've said everything I need to say. So if you like the video, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you want, if you'd like to see more, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, bye bye, peace out.